Athens Sports Arena, but I'm also the Vice President of Government Relations for the Black Chamber. I have a question, two-part question as it relates to two things, and I'm looking at your platform, and the first thing that comes up in your platform, and I'll phrase it this way. One of the sayings in our community is that when it comes to politicians is they date us the day before the election. They come on our votes, come to our churches. They marry us the day of the election to get our vote. And then they divorce us the day after the election. And they forget about all the promises we made when they dated us and when they married us. And then they divorce. So I'm looking at these platforms, and there's two things I want to talk about and have questions. Ask it, what is the topic is, what is the enforcement that the Democratic Party does to hold not only businesses accountable for this, but our elected officials, right? Because you put these out. And the first thing that pops out is the economic security, right? And the first thing it says is ensure fairness and opportunity. Well, we know here in Athens that Athens-Clarke County paid $400,000 to do a study to determine whether or not they were discriminatory against black minorities and women. And that study came back and said less than 4% of government contracts and partnerships are given to minorities and women. They got this they knew it. But yet nothing has been done to address it. And people like myself, who is a minority-owned business, and people like Quazon and other people here, we attempted to try to get partnerships to build our community. My sports facility on the west side. We don't have a west side community center. But yet I can't get the city to have any partnership with me. So, and that's one incident. And then we talk about on the issue of justice, equal justice. We know the Democratic Party platform was very supportive of Black Lives Matter, which was the whole purpose of Black Lives Matter was the unfair treatment and unfair arrest of our young black women, young men, and boys and girls. But yet here in Athens-Clarke County right now, there's 4 pending federal lawsuits of unlawful arrests relating to Athens-Clarke County of 4 black individuals, including myself, and there's a 5th one that they just settled for $237,000 for the unlawful arrest of us as blacks. But yet nobody's speaking out for us. So my question is, what is the Democratic Party doing when you're promoting that you're for fairness, you're for equality, but you're remaining quiet on our own government, treating us in a disparaging way, in a discriminatory way where we can't get contracts and partnership, and unlawfully arresting us as young black men and women?
So much of what I was going to say, you have said, but I do want to, before I make a statement about the Democratic Party here in Clarke County, just for the sister from Colorado, there are those, and Ebenezer is one of those who is trying to breach that gap, or bridge that gap of affordability for housing here. And that is why we didn't, I know the rumor is Ebenezer going to build a mega church. We got a great church right up the hill. What we need is housing for folk who were born and raised here, and that's why we brought that in. The elephant in the room is that many black folk believe that the Democratic Party is far too progressive for us.
Now you preach.
We are, by just historically, a very conservative people. And therefore, those who fall in the middle, centrism, is really where we fall. But when Firefly, when bike lanes and green spaces, all those things are great, but not when our schools are crumbling, not when we can't afford to live here. And so there's a great need in this county, as you said, 78%. We don't feel like the Democratic Party has our back. And the one comment I was going to say, as Mr. Green was speaking, is, we didn't just start supporting the Democratic Party. Since 1932, we've been supporting the Democratic Party. And so those needs are known. They just haven't been acted upon. It's time for this party, you know, and one of the questions that I was hoping would be asked and is, as we head into this major election, how many resources are, just for that, for November 5th and the lead up to November 5th, how many resources have been allocated to voter mobilization in the black community? That 78%, we'll go vote. But there's so many people who are disaffected. All of the people behind Donald Trump now, those are disaffected people, mostly. There's some who are advantageous, but they're disaffected. That's what's happening in the black community, especially here in Athens-Clarke County. So,
just addressing the turnout. I mean, the last election and the one prior, I'm from here, never had an issue with turnout. Never. Less than what of the eligible voters in May, a little under 70,000. We had less than 20% turnout. Never happened when I was there. Never. So that is an issue. And that's why I asked specifically if you guys the area was 78%. Thank you for that. Did anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I would like to follow up. I have a follow-up question because you mentioned infrastructure. So within that infrastructure, what's in place to help the least in this county? Because I see a lot of housing. We actually did a lesson recently in one of the classrooms I was in, and some of these rentals are $4,000 plus a month. So what's being put in place to help the people that's born and raised here, and they're slowly being put out of their communities? What is our government doing to this?
Well, in our last budget, we started a strike on two gates to create a land bank. And what a land bank does, it acquires land within the county that we can build affordable housing on. And as a new commissioner, I'm not going to say that I know it all. I've only had 3 housing courses so far. But I feel like looking at the stock that we already have and the lots that have gone bad, to look at rehabbing those. Right now, we are working with Athens First Bank and getting first homeowner loans for low-income families who's only making the average minimum income. Also, working with Housing Authority to kind of alleviate some of the burden on the Bethel Homes and the Athens Flats. The Athens Flat that's out on 29. Just building enough stock to be able for costs to go down. But also, people don't want to live in apartments. So acquiring land to be able to build single-family housing. But then I ask myself, if we do all of these things for home ownership, how many of our residents are truly going to be ready for what is coming? I.e. getting our credit together. You know what I mean? Having all of the things in place. Because when those things do come, I don't want outsiders to take this opportunity. I was born and raised here. I'm a homeowner. I would like for everybody else to own homes, as well. And also transition out of housing authority. And so, because they're going private. In 5 to something years from now, I really don't know what that looks like. I do think that we have to be vigilant on who we allow to come in Athens and build whatever they build, which now are high rises and so affordable that only students can live in them, or only 1 bedroom, so by default, students can live in them. So I think it's by being proactive and also just saying no to a lot of developers. So I don't know if that's what y'all want to do with it.
Thank you.
What it is.
Thank you.
And we, the commission, each commissioner has their goals as far as what we do with the remainder of the ARPA funds. But a lot of sentiment is going to infrastructure. because with all of the building that's coming, we're going to have to expand our sewers, and the water lines. So I guess we'll have, more of a consensus of what we would like to do Saturday afternoon. I know that there is some money left in youth development, and at this point, we're just at the awarding stage because of procurement. And if it were me and my vote, I would vote for it to go towards programming that'll help more nonprofits build capacity. I think that if you designate buckets to go towards certain things, it shouldn't just be all compiled into one pile because we're on a deadline. But I don't speak for one commissioner, so.